level of Asian Counter-Strike are really trying to rehearse their best so that when we go overseas and we have these international chances, they'll look better and they'll have maybe a few sort of cute plays that they can pull off against some of those international level teams. But ATOX not really showing us their best foot forward in the opener of this series. So we move into an Anubis that has been a bit of a strong point for, honestly, both of these squads. And I'd say Lynn are probably the best team that you could face on this map, just for the practice of it all. But ATOX have looked lethal in their own regards, and it was a lot to do with accuracy once upon a time. So let's see how well Annihilation slots into his positions.
Didn't quite have the most glowing start to things in the previous map. Of course, he had a couple of moments here and there, some nice reads, but beyond that, somewhat pedestrian performance. Hopefully he can pull a cat out of the hat and have it bite the faces of Lynn Vision off. Cabal set up outside Dark, but he's got two dualies to contend with inside and Starry and G. No flashes, nothing of the sort, so he'll just be hoping for a late peek in, one that will be denied. Starry opens up with a strong frag, and Westmelon reveals position back in Ninja. G catches off more, reveals the fact that there's two here, but they can't do anything about it. Annihilation and Zesta lose almost all their life in exchange for those kills, but Zacher and Westmelon still alive in this site, and, well, soon to be given a little bit more. Dobu taken down a notch by Amelia elsewhere on the map, and it feels like the T side is already having a noose around their neck. It just needs to be tightened.
Yeah, they vacated that B bomb site, but the fact that they were so low HP, the fact as well that Amelia gets another. They know that Dobu was dinked up earlier on, and so it just is only a simple body shot in from Zacher to finish off the round. 3 sets of dualies that seem to just destroy ATOX on that pistol.
It's 8 pistols versus 5. It makes sense. I'm sorry, that's just how the math goes.
I love that you had to do the math very quickly for
I did. Instinctively, I was thinking 10, but then I'm like, nah, that can't be it.
Yeah, that's a few too many. Yeah, ATOX not ready for the timing that Lynn were going to hit in that pistol, so nice to see a nice assertive start. Starry on the scout. It's a little bit of a weird one.
Yeah, you rarely see that.
Riflers buying scouts.
And, I mean, scouts in general in a full, well, not really a full buy round, but in a round where you won the pistol round.
It's just typically if that is going to happen, it's on your AWPer. I know Alexi was doing a bit of this at the major.
Well, he seems to know a thing or two about Counter-Strike, so I've heard. Well, that's not the way that deal's supposed to go on paper. Annihilation actually has free reign to even go plant the bomb on A. This is looking to be a little bit more deadly than they thought, and Westmelon will intercept. Annihilation realized that he was probably going to be gunned down, so had to take a fight, but that fight doesn't work out.
Yeah, fully expecting to probably get shot from A main or a player just hiding inside of heaven, so didn't want to just commit to the plan and get caught with his pants down, but they could have used that extra money. Especially as they move into their first proper investment. See a Galil out. Some of the util is lacking as well for ATOX, mainly in flashes. They've got all the smokes and molotovs they could ask for. And they'll have the better weaponry as well for this buy. See if they can actually capitalize on it, or whether this scout, the MP9, the FAMAS, whether they can find their impact. That was one of the few flashes.
Down.
Yeah. That was one of the few flashes they just used to section off a little space towards A main. So now all the fights are just going to have to be around the smokes that they still have.
Who needs flashes anyway? Right?
I've heard they give you a bit of an advantage on fights sometimes.
Bro, I think that's an urban myth, to be honest.
He's being sarcastic. For those I think that's that.
Yeah. G's pretty lonely in middle, and he's about to be given company of a sort. He's not ready for Cabal, takes him down. Amelia elsewhere, brought down low, and Lynn Vision was always going to have a rough time because of their weaponry, but Dobu, not quite what he wanted to do with that nade. 3 people still populating the B site. If this is the finish that ATOX have planned, it could still get dangerous.
Aggression in from Zacher, and this time it's Cabal that gets caught off guard. An upgrade as well. Zacher being the only healthy player that remains here for Lynn Vision. Everyone else tagged, and the trades are good for ATOX as they start to move into this B bomb site. Starry does seem to have tagged up another on the cross, but Zacher now has to get to fight out into the open. Starry finishing off another, and these players are both wounded. This scout can function just like an AWP, but with some extra mobility. But both weapons round the corners are on full automatic. Starry hits another, an Annihilation trying to dance with him on this pillar. Starry doing a great job of limiting the exposure that he has on each of these fights, and he'll hit every single shot on this scout. The fact these players were tagged up, sure enough, that makes it way easier for Starry to perform, but a 1 versus 3 on a scout, no less? Who'd have thought that Starry had it in him?
You dare question why a rifler is going for a scout? Michael, how could you? How could you? Of course Starry gets those kills. He knew it all along. That's why he got the scout in the previous round.
Is he trying to argue for secondary AWPing duties?
Bro, primary scouting duties, okay? That's all I'm saying for Starry, because he looked great on that. And, you know, you were saying, of course, some of the players are tagged up before. A lot of them were tagged up by Starry, right? So, you know, he's really coming into his own, I suppose. And obviously, Anubis is one of his best maps in general, always is able to perform on it. It's very fun to see him on this lineup. It feels like that's one of the reasons why Lynn was fraying into Anubis territory so often domestically, even when Starry was having his own struggles, and now with the Major having shown what Starry can do once again. I mean, God help anyone who's got to play Anubis against this man.
Yeah, for these young players, it's a lot to do with, you know, how confident are they feeling when they actually get some of these big chances. And, you know, even them making the Major in the first place, it's a good way to, you know, disrupt any anxiety or sort of over-cautiousness. Just being able to handle that pressure does a lot for the mental.
Zacher's gonna hold down the fort, and with a flashbang to help, he's got 2 big ones. Apparently flashes do help, but G unfortunately didn't have any of his own. Bomb is dropped, so he can't respond to the players left on the T side. Have to reconvene ATOX. Really hoping to find Westmelon before he becomes too much of a menace, and that Molotov expires back in heaven. They're pulling out the crunch. Starry on one side, Westmelon on the other, and Starry's the one to strike first. Bomb needs to be recovered yet again. Mick did so much on Inferno. Can he get a 1v2 together? No. Again, great spacing, and Lynn Vision, despite the close shave, will still find that fort.
Yeah, they tried to move him with pace, and after getting mowed down initially by Zacher, thought that it was going to start to go a little weird, a little pear-shaped there for ATOX, but they get it into that 2-on-2, and even though they're considering all the potential attack avenues, just a bit of mistiming, just trying to get extra smokes down so that they felt comfortable enough to secure a plant. That's where Starry's flank, just a little too disruptive. Great job from him keeping that pressure applied as well for the trade. He only survived with 1, but ATOX are going in with a bit of a scrambled bye here in this 5th round. Should be many issues in tying the bow on this one. Maybe Mick can get something done on that AK. Said he's been a bit of a factor thus far in the series, whether he's been finding multi-kills or just kills in general throughout the mid-round. Local territory once again through mid, and this time Amelia and Zacher get overwhelmed. Mick even coming through that smoke, but realized the job was already done. They've got the site.
It's not quite free, but yeah, they at least will be able to get the bomb plant in. The crucial duel comes down to Mick, and like you said, he was the one on the AK and the one with all the expectations on his shoulders. Regardless, Starry's trying to move through, but he's raced out a little bit too wide, anticipating the pillar play. Zesta, nearby, MP9, Westmelon will not expect it.
Yeah, I mean, the timing is great there for Zesta, just as Westmelon's clearing out a bunch of angles. The one he's not ready for is right in front of him, and that SMG will be allowed to upgrade. So, off of 1 rifle and a whole series of pistols, it's the pistols that do most of the legwork. Once again, it's middle that's exploited.
it does feel like Emilia is the one who definitely had a few more expectations placed on his shoulders there to try and bring that one together as they're barreling through. Zacker's only good for one because Emilia goes down so fast, as Zacher can't really try and jiggle around the smokes. He has to be conscious about aim in as well. All of these things are going on together. Now, one more kill from Emilia could have maybe changed the entire round.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that SMG being in a bit of an off angle, sure, that can benefit you on the first duel, but if you don't succeed on that first fight, then you're sure as hell not getting away with anything more. So money shattered. It's not looking like it's in the best of positions here for Lynn Vision. G still floating some cash. Of course, the man wants that AWP in his hands more frequently than not. And then being able to save that AWP over from that previous round can still be a threat. But on weapons like these, you know, you always feel like you want flashes and you want smokes to be placed in forward positions to make things a little bit more awkward on ATOX's default, but Lynn are lacking in that regard.
Great frag early on from the ball as well, but Zacher around the corner. There he goes, and Annihilation is scared. He doesn't want to face him down with the AWP. Worried about that mobility coming back to overwhelm. Zacher does not overextend for the AK. Now again, Lynn Vision, they want to push in aggressively. Dobu drops the ball like nothing else, and Shorkabal is there to trade, but he himself is taken down quickly. Zacher goes for that late push and can activate. Leaves G to try and take care of this B site, but he's turned away. Worried about a potential flank to come through. Perhaps maybe some wrong calls coming out in the team speak with G. And Nate goes out around the corner. It's still good for the first kill on Annihilation. And Zesta's got nothing else to do in the server with 11 HP. He's a dead man walking.
Yeah, this round is all Zacher. I mean, a lot of steps being made by Mick, which is the biggest mistake he makes on the default. And as soon as he gets run down by the SMG, you can see it's just a massive clamor for ATOX to get tabs on whether or not Zacher's continuing to push, or whether he's fallen back. And like you said, Zacher finding great timing to deal with Cabal as well, and then just kept on applying pressure over and over again. Yeah, a little bit of miscommunication maybe in the Lynn Vision comms, but it's all well and good if you can still pull the round together, especially when that was just an unoptimized buy.
Yeah. Trying to force G off the angle. Mick might be the instigator this time. Here, G dropping away, but he does actually trade with a lot of his own life. Oh. That's such a well done retake out towards A main. Zacher again, just knowing his timings, doesn't overextend. Immediately moves back after the flash molly, and now the T's have to regain everything. They have no flashes to enter this A site. They will have 3 players to deal with. It feels like an impossible situation, especially with G coming up with the frag, but G re-peaks. That might be it. That might be all they need. Annihilation now proceeds forward. They will find their way blocked off by a Molotov, but that just gives time to their mid-lurkers to come through. Emilia's caught out by Zesta, and that activation will work perfectly. CTs were already siphoning rotates out from extremities rather than from middle. Now these rotates should just move back and save.
I mean, this seems like the biggest vulnerability we've seen so far from Lynn on this map, is that mid just is constantly uncontested. How many times have we seen an actual fight happen in that section of the map? It has been far and few. And I honestly thought, you know, with the utility that ATOX had, they were going to have some real difficulties. But once G re-swung and re-peaked from that pillar position, it just felt like he was the first domino, and every other domino fell straight afterwards. Even that kill there that looked teed up for Westmelon going Zesta's way. Could have been a nice upgrade into an AK, but only the one rifle that should escape is Starry. It feels so strange to see Lynn so hesitant to play multiple players inside of middle. fight for it even slightly, or even just go for a variety of different setups, because they've been playing very contently within the bomb sites, but we've seen that cause some issues. Even in the round where G was defending the B bomb site, the fact they had no one keeping tabs or even just anticipating that there could have been a timing hit, it just makes it so awkward for the site players to operate. It's the way in which they want to play around it, but causing them some problems to start.
It's not like these unoptimal buys haven't been incredibly deadly, though, and maybe the B-bomb side can feature something like it. Westmelon not able to get the one, but at least Zacker's nearby, so with the bomb also pretty far back, these are actually in an awkward position. Zacker's got backup coming down in middle. G's the one dropping in from behind, and Canals Dobu taken down, but Starry can't hold on to his life. G, well, he's got the same problem.
Ooh, Amelia, good timing. A smoke that's thrown. Zessa just trying to delay for as long as possible. Drop that smoke, but there's no extra presence on this B bomb site, and so Amelia, very well aware of that fact, hoofing it straight towards the A bomb site. ATOX are doing much the same. This 1-on-3 could still be pieced together. Now he'll have no kit, so once that bomb goes down, he will be on a timer, so trying to find a player just as that plant's gone down, be his best time to strike. Not sure if he caught a whiff of Mick around that pillar or not, but now he finally sees him, an instant headshot. But there's Annihilation to trade from the site itself. Starts off with a big man advantage there for ATOX, but Amelia makes it close.
The problem for Lynn Vision is that they don't get the consolation prize of damage being dealt at the enemy economy when you have to eco immediately afterwards. So, great attempt from Amelia, really gives the old college try of things, but unfortunately for Lynn, this does still mean you have to go for the full eco, and you're effectively one gun round away from ATOX guaranteeing 6 at this point.
It's a bit of a miss Molotov there from Annihilation. Mal familiar with Anubis. You know, there's maybe a little bit of rust. First official we've really seen from him on Counter-Strike 2. But he's not the only one that's having some issues with utility. Lynn were missing Molotovs and smokes. Zesta now as well fumbling his own smoke. It can be forgiven.
Oh.
This is very expensive.
A lot of damage.
Extremely so. Far more than you really would have wanted if you were ATOX. You took the bomb site rather smoothly, but it's the exit that's a little bit more trying, and Amelia will scurry off with an AK in his possession for the buy.
Will the damage be significant? Honestly, if Lynn wins this, his damage is significant.
They get to the end of the half and have no money.
Yeah, yeah. All the more reason for ATOX to win it, then there you go. Damage doesn't matter if you just win the round. I appreciate how proactive Lynn has been about deploying utility early on outside Dark to prevent Canal's control from being a major factor, but now they've rotated 2 players out to middle instead. So you've got Amelia and G both trying to feature in. They've recognized that shortcoming that you mentioned. But will ATOX anticipate this is the question.
See some of the difficulties that Lynn are having, even when they do want to have a bit more middle control. Still being deployed by ATOX. Great flash, but doesn't fully catch out Zesta. So well adjusted for the headshot. Starry clamoring back for a kill of his own inside of the canals. And so just as soon as they find a man advantage, it's equalized rather rapidly. But they still have these extremities lurkers that are looking to maybe force some extra presence their direction. A head that's offered around the top of that smoke. It took G a second, but they have also lost another player, just getting a little bit too inquisitive. It's Starry that tried to emerge through the canals, and that leaves access open for B. That's why G is so quick-footed to try and take back control.
The bomb still hasn't gone away. It's going to be slow, so if Annihilation wants to be the one planting it, there was a timing. There was a timing, but G instead is the one with the shots being hit on the side itself. He does have a grenade, will not be deploying it. Would have been enough to take Annihilation down, but instead they're playing for the post spawn and to deny positions. G holds on. They know his position. Annihilation trying to pre-fire around the corner, but it's all a game for Zacher to play between him and Cabal. That's the deal that matters. Will Cabal turn around on time? G buying space just by purely existing. Cabal and Annihilation should both be dead men walking. Cabal can't turn in time, and Zacher rectifies his earlier miss. Lynn will find the 6.
Yeah, I mean, really patient stuff as well from G, just holding his nerve, holding his ground, and as soon as he's able to stay alive for as long as that, you look at the post-plant positions in that 2-on-2, and it is not optimal. They're exposed to absolutely everything. There's dark pressure that could have been put through. There's the prospect of a flank. They could have been creeping their way out as well from Temple, just taking their time and flushing out that position. There was a timer that they could have hit had they dealt with G on the site itself, but just him being alive was a little too much to handle. 6th round for Lynn Vision, and a double AWP, a second one in the hands of Zacher, who, once upon a time, this was his primary role. Was the best candidate for it, but we saw the great display from Starry on the scout, so just to say who's even the best AWPer on this team.
Starry did use the secondary AWP as well back then when Zacher was on it, so yeah. Candidates galore. Is this how you make sure that you always beat Tyloo? Just take all of the AWPers that could potentially replace Kaze when he wants to retire? Whenever that is.
Yeah, implying he wants to retire.
ATOX has been pretty consistent in trying to retake A main in the middle of the round, but will it be an A side finish? That is where they found most of their success.
This is a lovely angle for Westmelon to hold on to middle from, one in which he can just pop his head up. Kind of impossible to spot. He was kind of jiggling and moving around, and you know, it's very, very much a pixel you have to stand on. Westmelon tagged up, just trying to vacate that middle section, just as some A main pressure was being applied by ATOX. They're just gonna start running through. Oh my goodness, yeah, Dobu. I mean, sure, he gets around that pillar, but G's there to sweep up the pieces, so they'll have a man advantage, a significant one at that for the retake.
Annihilation has to make a move aggressively. You cannot just lie and wait for Lynn Vision to come through with their util, with their kits, with their double up setup, which, listen, that might not be the most conducive, but G's want to get aggressive and do it happily. Zesta around the corner is about to find that out firsthand. Annihilation again, unable to find a frag, and it feels like Lynn Vision can do no wrong.
That little stutter step from G, I mean, it was hardly something that he had planned himself, but it got Annihilation to miss his shot. You know, all G was really doing was just quickly adjusting to Zesta, emerging out from dark to try and serve as the bait for Annihilation to thrive. But unfortunately, with the ult miss, that round is rather simple when they had all of that presence from Temple. 7th round for Lynn, and once again, ATOX have to come in with a bit of a scrappy buy to fight off the end of this half. It has not been the easiest showing for ATOX thus far. Lynn are no small fish to fry. Let's see if Zacher continues to have
I don't think Zacher revealed his secondary op in the previous.
No, I don't think so either. He's had a hot hand this half.
That continues forward. He's going to re-peek back out over. Not punished for it, even if he can't get the second kill. Now he can. Amelia's nearby. Close range rifle. Far range up. That's what you want to see. Feels like ATOX will not get to see a 5th round, not in this half. Dobu a 1-on-5, and listen, I've seen him pull one of these off, but those are
one in a lifetime rounds, and he's had his one. Molotovs galore, grenades everywhere. He's a dead man, and he knows it as well. Let's see whether he can do something better in that second half.
That same old feeling. Don't know what's right or wrong. Searching for meaning. I've been thinking about it way too long. So
You know how we said Lynn Vision's the best Anubis team, probably in the region? Well, that seems to not have changed.
Yeah, even against an ATOX that looked to make it one of their home maps as well. They are made to look a little foolish for that first half. A T-side that did not operate the way they had planned. But very fast-footed are Lynn Vision very quickly in towards Dark. But there's a second port of Cole in from the middle section. Even though they dropped inside of Canals, Dobu gets caught. And so now that reinforcements, that secondary player on that A bomb site caught transitioning via Heaven and taken down as well into a 3-on-3. That first initial bit of aggression is flushed out. Cabal now leading the way back in through spawn, but this is difficult. Amelia coupled up with Zacher. They're going to try and force this fight. In fact, they're all playing in from the heavens, but Annihilation right behind. They're both dealt with. Westmelon's pistol not deterred. And so this is really difficult for Zesta now with a kit that's trapped deep inside of spawn. He has to find both the frags, but Westmelon's Glock is infallible. A 9th and a pistol for Lynn Vision.
I didn't even know with an angle where Westmelon was sitting. You rarely ever see that deal coming through. I think ATOX actually right into that, though, Michael. Mick started rotating very early on, right back towards that A side, and in fact, it's a fact that Mick ends up falling, even though they were in a 4v3, might not have actually had time to process that information, because Zesta got a kill very quickly. Mick goes to try and, get a quick sideline into Heaven. That's where he dies. Otherwise, if they play the 4v3 retake, could have been maybe a different story. Regardless, though, they do lose out the pistol, and that could be fatal.
Well, this time it does look like a proper B-side attack, but they've got all 5 here on these USPs, and they're doing some damage, but not converting on any of the kills. These 2 rifles between them survive on low health, but they feast on what is the unarmored carcasses of our ATOX. Nice, smooth anti-eco. But it's feeling a little do or die here for ATOX. And the fortune is that in this qualifier, there is, of course, 2 lives that each team has. But to lose your first one so quickly can be a little disheartening. Especially when you think if you're the underdog. You're prepping quite heavily for that first round matchup, especially if you're against a Lynn Vision or Mongols. You want to put up a better fight than this.
Good fight in this round at least, so 5 versus 3. The early match went their way, and it feels like it should be extended, but Amelia comes out on top despite having a bullet in his head. Gotta be a commendable effort. Feel like you should get a medal for that.
Yeah, no purple hearts being given out for rounds like this. Cabal takes up that A main space. And now that there's no smoke, willing to fight out into the open. Of course, them still having that man advantage, courtesy of the fact that Annihilation found his kill quite cleanly, as did Dobu. Trying to feign some control. The idea of an execute on that A play, but they creep in through middle instead, and Annihilation moved back to reinforce the B bomb site. It's because Cabal's called all clear inside of A main, and they know that there was just one man throwing that utility, but they don't realize that the site's been taken, just not through the avenue they expected.
This is deadly. If Cabal starts to rotate backwards inside the water and Amelia just maintained position, that would have been very dangerous in itself, but as the bomb will be planted, Amelia's prioritizing the middle. So regardless, he's in a position to be able to potentially punish a few players. Dobu's basically dead for sure. Dobu's expecting this angle, but still doesn't matter. The ball was the important one to have to deal with. He's able to sight while all of that chaos in mid takes place, but yeah, maybe a bit more given up than they were ready.
Yeah, a little strange, to be honest. I could see why in that after plant, Lynn were a little caught off guard, a little confused, because they cleared out A main, they didn't see him. Cabal had actually taken to rugs in sort of anticipation to track down Amelia, who was throwing out all that utility in the first place. So I think they're a little awkward, because they weren't sure if Cabal had rotated away to the B-bomb site as well, but then he just manages to find a good timing just as they're setting up in the after plant. Amelia can only do so much when he was on that low HP on his lurk. So well handled by ATOX. A little unconventional in the way that they adapted their setup and made their rotations, but a round's a round. And important that they were able to use that man advantage efficiently.
What's the game plan coming out over here for Lynn? They've used a lot of their Molotovs early on, but they've just been exchanged with a quick push shot from B. Westmelon is good for intercepting that, so Lynn, first kill is found. ATOX, meanwhile, completely abandoned mid, and they just try and reinforce strongholds on either side. This is something we saw a lot from Lynn. It didn't work out for them necessarily every time. Mid did feel like you needed a bit more presence. Can ATOX show them how it's actually done? Smoke back out to heaven. The full execute is planned. A side being taken over, and they're already into it. And by the time Cabal is actually going to be a factor, he's located and taken down. The grenade is the only thing that actually finds a frag, and ATOX will be forced to say.
Yeah, that timing is about as bad as it could have been for ATOX, all things considered. I mean, doubling up inside of the site, leaving that massive gap in through middle. Even by the time they realize what the setup is like, they see these flashes and the nades sailing out from heaven, so as much as you maybe would have wanted Cabal to maybe put up a bit of a performance, especially after losing his player in Mick on the site. They knew about him, so the trade was almost guaranteed. It's a nice call from Westmelon. As soon as they saw that aggression towards B and they'd found that one kill, he immediately darted to middle where Starry was still retaining that position around that smoke on the bridge. I feel like they had a very good read on how ATOX were going to adapt, especially once they realized that they were going to have to operate that man down. It's almost strange to see ATOX as kind of... I mean, they would be the underdogs in this matchup. You know, it's maybe not as big as people realize, the gap, I guess, between the two squads. Albeit the implementation of Annihilation maybe takes them down a peg or two just because it's so fresh. But they're the ones being active and aggressive on the CT side in the early segments. Saw really good, like, mid-round timing from Lynn Vision in terms of establishing control. But ATOX are trying to come in with conviction, but... you may have conviction, you may not always have the right pieces in the right spots still. Already losing out on Annihilation at the very start of this round, hampering their chances even further.
That was gone, but Zesta's there to trade. The B-bomb side has got no one in it, and Zesta wants to quickly rectify. He's got an incendiary and a flashbang, but with the amount of time still left on the clock, a minute to waste off. If Lynn wanted to delay and actually coming through with the hit, this Molotov might not do too much. Molly is there, but the smokes will still have about 10 seconds left on them by the time they start to go in after the Molly. That's where the rotations have to come into play. Westmelon is expecting them, is waiting for them, but Cabal's timing could be very good on the flank with the MP9 while the bomb is being planted. Mix up, jumps up, finds Chi, and Westmelon around the corner. It's actually... gonna be perfectly fine. It's actually Zacher who's tagged up. Zacher now fading back. Cabal should realize Zacher's there with the scope sound being given up, and now it's a 2-on-3. Westmelon and Amelia have to hold on to the site. Amelia's the one coming in on the flank. He is the X factor. Good for the first frag, and now Mix all alone. He was able to find the initial kill and the retake, but Westmelon is here to stop him from getting too many more.
I mean, they hit the weakened site. It's the fact that they start losing numbers as they're transitioning to try and get that bomb down. Had Mick got the tag through the wall, it could have made things a little bit more interesting, a little bit more dangerous. But that timing from Amelia couldn't have come better. I mean, 2 AWPs were coming in for the retake because I just don't think Cabal wanted to go in with just an MP9, especially when there's so many long-ranged fights that can happen, especially if you're kind of holding into the mouth of dark. Just doesn't work out. So on weakened weapons, they'll try again for a bit of aggression. Westmelon's been great at locking things down. Zesta found, and Tobu's head also taken off of his shoulders. It's Cabal to try and hunt down this trade, and he'll finish off Westmelon. But it's into a 3-on-3, and there was just so much mounted pressure on B. Mick needed a frag. He pushed out from A main and met 0 resistance up until that very point. And now it's a free plant. Free post plants to be given up as well for Lynn Vision.
Molotov to interrupt Annihilation if he wanted to try and come in and make a move quickly, but now he's the only one left who's still got feet, or heads for that matter. Moving through the smoke will mean that he's got neither. 13-5 Lynn Vision move forward in the upper bracket. They make it look easy, and honestly for them it might have been.
Yeah, I mean, this was definitely the expected result we had coming into this game. You know, Lynn Vision, I mean, you can make it out of the RMRs, you make it to the major in the first place. That's already a massive accomplishment that, I mean, it was the first time I...